noticed that your inner voice doesn't believe in office hours? It doesn't sleep, it doesn't take breaks, and it definitely doesn't wait for an appropriate moment to speak. No, your inner voice loves drama. It loves popping up when you're shampooing your hair, trying to fall asleep, waiting for the elevator, or attempting to look normal in a grocery store while picking up bananas. And sometimes it's the only voice in the world you're truly alone with. Welcome to today's episode. Your inner voice is talking. And yes, darling, it's talking a lot. So let's sit with it for a while. Let's get curious about what's trying to say without judging, without running, without panicking, and without assuming it's automatically correct because we both know sometimes it's a terrible narrator. Before we begin, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually listened to yourself? Not the self you show on Instagram, not the self that you say, oh, I'm fine when someone asks how life is, not the self that pretends everything's under control. I'm talking about the quiet self, the one that whispers beneath the noise, the one that says things like, I think I'm tired. I don't know what I'm doing. I wish someone could hear me. I need a moment. That voice. Most of us spend years ignoring it. We drown it out with noise, with work, with scrolling, with productivity, with future plans, with the pressure to look like someone who always knows what they're doing. But today, just for a little while, we're going to give that voice some space. Not because it's always right, but because it's always honest. You deserve a moment with your own truth. Let's start with something simple. Right now, wherever you are, take a deep breath. No, really, take a deep breath. You might not even realize you've been holding it. Most people walk around half breathing like stressed out hummingbirds. So, inhale gently and exhale slowly. Feel that tiny shift, that little softening inside your chest. That's your inner voice clearing its throat like, oh, yes, finally, attention, please. And here's the funny part about inner voices. They're dramatic, they are emotional, they are brutally honest, and they're often very confused. But that's okay. You will be confused too if you were the one stuck inside someone else's head with zero sunlight, no window, and worst of all, no mute button. As Elizabeth Gilbert once wrote, the soul speaks in whispers. But unfortunately, the mind speaks in megaphones. Today is not about silencing the mind or forcing the soul to yell louder. Today is about making enough space for them to sit at the table. And let's talk about the chaos inside us. Some days your inner voice is supportive. You got this. You're doing great. You've survived everything so far. Other days, it's a sarcastic gremlin. You really were that today? You're gonna answer that email? Really? Why are we like this? And sometimes it's anxious. What if everything falls apart at once? What if I'm not enough? What if I ruin everything? And then there are days when your inner voice is basically an extra animal, silent, missing, zero commentary, zero motivation, just the emotional equivalent of buffering, buffering, buffering. And that's all normal. You're not losing your mind. Your mind is just doing what minds do, trying to make sense of life. The problem is never that we have an inner voice. The problem is when we act like every thought we hear is a truth. Let me say that again for the people sting emotional traffic. Not every thought you think is you, not every thought you have is true, not every thought deserves a microphone. Sometimes your inner voice is wise, sometimes it's scared, sometimes it's 5 years old, sometimes it's your mother, sometimes it's your anxiety wearing a fancy coat pretending to be logic. Your job isn't to fix the voice. Your job is to listen to it without letting it run the show. So, how do we do that? We start by getting curious. Imagine your inner voice is a friend sitting next to you on a couch. Not a perfect friend, not the friend who has their life together, but the one who tries their best. What would happen if instead of arguing with that friend, you simply said, "Tell me what's going on. Why are you feeling this way? What do you need from me right now?" Curiosity softens everything. When your inner voice says, "I feel overwhelmed," you don't respond with, "Well, suck it up." You ask, "Okay, what's making you feel that way?" And suddenly the voice that once felt chaotic starts making sense. This is what mindfulness is. Not emptying your mind, not becoming a Zen master, not sitting cross legged on a mountain. It's just noticing, listening, knowing your thoughts are thoughts, not comments. Let me tell you a story. A writer once said, "Your mind is like a bad neighborhood. Don't go in there alone." And honestly, fair. But here is the twist. You also live there. You can't move out. So the only option is to turn the bad neighborhood into a decent one. Recently, I had one of those days where my inner voice was doing dramatic monologue. You know, the type where every little thing becomes a crisis, where a text message from someone makes you spiral, where you somehow convince yourself in 2 minutes that life is falling apart. And after hours of feeling like my brain was a washing machine stuck on a spin mode, I did something radical. I sat down, I breathed, and I asked myself, what's actually going on? And the answer surprised me. I wasn't overwhelmed because life was impossible. I was overwhelmed because I hadn't listened to myself in weeks. I had ignored every small sign of exhaustion. I had pushing through every "I need a break." I had acted like rest was optional. I like slowing down was a luxury, like asking for help was a weakness. My inner voice wasn't yelling because it hated me. It was yelling because it had been whispering for too long. Your inner voice is the part of you that refuses to disappear. It's the part that remembers who you are when you forget. It's the part that says, "This isn't working," even when you're trying to pretend it's it. It's the part that nudges you at night with thoughts like, "There's something you need," even if you can't put it out into words yet. Sometimes your inner voice is uncomfortable. Sometimes it's inconvenient. Sometimes it asks you to make changes you're not ready for. But it's yours. It's trying to guide you towards yourself. It doesn't always know how to communicate gently. So here is what I want you to try. Next time your mind starts spiraling, don't fight it. Don't shame it. Don't tell yourself you're being dramatic. Instead, ask, what's it really about? And then just listen. You don't have to fix it in that moment. You don't have to understand it fully. You don't have to take action. Just give it space. Because most of the time, your inner voice is not asking for a solution, it's asking to be heard. Once it feels heard, it softens, it calms down, it becomes quieter, just like anyone else would. And here's something important: your inner voice isn't always you. Sometimes it's fear, old ones, echoes of other people, but underneath all the noise, there is a deeper voice, a wiser one, a softer one, the one that knows you're trying your best and it is trying its best to guide you gently. That's the voice we're learning to hear. Before we close, I want to leave you with a quote I love. Listen to the wind, it talks. Listen to the silence, it speaks. Listen to your heart, it knows. Your inner voice isn't random noise. It's your heart trying to reach you through the only doorway it has. your own attention. So tonight or tomorrow morning or the next time you feel overwhelmed, pause, take a breath, check in with yourself. Let the chaos speak, let the fear speak, let the confusion speak, let the hope speak too. And somewhere in that gentle quiet, you'll hear the truth. You're not lost. You're not alone. You're not behind. You're just human, and you're doing the best you can. Your inner voice is talking. This time, let's listen.